Fnaf is full of mysteries. I mean, the popularity of the game was built on these mysteries and how elusive the war was, and even at times still is, but over the years we've gotten more and more information, which means some mysteries were solved. Those instances are what we're exploring today. Greetings gamers and welcome back to Top 10 Gaming. I'm Colin Monroe and this is the top 10 scary Fnaf mysteries that were solved. Let's do it. In at 10, location. The location of the Fnaf game has been quite the mystery over the years, but thanks to the paychecks we get at the end of the games, the area had been narrowed down to Utah, but that was as close as we got, since minimum wage doesn't vary from city to city. But thanks to the community of file divers who were finally able to share their findings on the Reddit pages, we got more specific thanks to the fast facts found in Fnaf AR's files. Quote, despite the name, hurricanes are actually not the leading cause of death of children in Hurricane, Utah. This is just a more specific confirmation of the location the game takes place in. Like, I don't know if there's any significance behind the location or if maybe there's a deeper meaning for Scott, but nonetheless it was a mystery that was solved and confirmed to be canon, at least until Illumix or Scott confirms the fast facts as not canon, which hasn't happened yet as of this recording, so if it has happened when you're watching this, don't get mad at me. And at 9, bad ending. The FNAF 3 bad ending was honestly pretty cut and dry when it came out, not much mystery to it. But with the revelation that Golden Freddy might have been possessed by two spirits, some seemed to think that this ending was hinting at it all along, but this wasn't the case, thanks to multiple factors actually. So the 2-eye theory states that in the FNAF 3 bad ending there are 2 eyes lit up in the head and the back, which we assume is Golden Freddy, to show that there are 2 souls. But this can't be the case. Firstly, it would be more difficult to tell that it was an animatronic head if only 1 eye was lit, since all we see are the eyes, and it could very well just be a reflection from the first light since it's so dark. Notice how Freddy also has a light coming out of his second eye. Secondly, Crying Child hasn't been introduced yet, not coming until the next game. That wasn't even going to happen until the community was disappointed in the Springtrap jump scare, since this was supposed to be the end of the series. That's why we released the souls in the Happiest Day minigame. Also notice that only 1 person in that minigame wears a Golden Freddy mask. And according to the official Freddy Files Updated Edition book, quote, you'll see an image of animatronic heads each with a lit eye, meaning that Golden Freddy in the back only had 1 eye lit. I go into this more in a dedicated video linked up in the top right corner if you want to go check that out. And at 8, Happiest Day masks. FNAF 3's Happiest Day minigame was the final minigame required to get the good ending. The ending where the animatronics had no lights on and the spirits had been put to rest. But there was something out of place that we didn't really mention at the beginning because we didn't want to deal with it. But there are multiple characters wearing masks from animatronics that we had never seen before. But why and how? Where did these masks of alligators, pigs, hippos and elephants and more come from? Well, we now know that it's the mediocre Melodies crew introduced in FNAF 6, and the alligator ends up being Montgomery Gator from Security Breach, because while it is a green mask, no frog has a snout that long. Which makes me think, when does this Happiest Day minigame actually take place in the timeline? Because if all these animatronics existed at the same time, what? I guess when one mystery is solved, another appears. And at 7, Security Puppet. The security puppet was something that was quite the mystery for a few fans. If Charlotte was killed outside the restaurant, how was the puppet able to get possessed? Since we know that we typically have to be in the vicinity of the object that we're possessing. This was explained to us in the security puppet minigame from FNAF 6, where we see the puppet crawl out to Charlotte in the rain after William drives off. This was a simple yet much needed explanation, at least to me, since it was very confusing how the laws of what's actually possible seemingly changed with each individual. But with that simple scene we understood the whole story. How a loving father was scared for his daughter's safety, how she was in danger thanks to William, so in an effort to protect her, Henry developed a green wristband that had specific coding on it. This code released a signal that the puppet animatronic would prioritize in case anything happened. Then, while stuck outside, William struck, which set off the bracelet alerting the puppet, who in a last-ditch attempt crawled in the rain and merged with Charlotte. A sad but evidently required story. And at 6, Lefty. The Lefty animatronic really came out of nowhere in FNAF 6. It looked like just another version of Freddy, but with the help of a secret ending and some rare screens, we got a bigger picture quite quickly. In what is known as the Insanity ending, we listen to a recording of Henry where he explains how he regrets unknowingly helping William in his killing spree and how he wanted to make things right. As he's talking, however, we see blueprints of various animatronics and mechanisms throughout the series, each with explanations for how they do certain things. Within these blueprints, we also see Lefty, which in turn turn stands for lure, encapsulate, fuse, transport, and extract, and that it lures something by emitting the bracelet code 934012333. And thanks to the security puppet minigame and a rare screen, we can tell that Lefty was meant to lure the puppet and does so successfully, since we can see the puppet's arm inside the animatronic while Lefty is sitting in the alley. A nice little explanation for the mystery of where the puppet was during Fnaf 6. Because, I mean, we didn't know. Halfway through in at number 5, how Baby works. Within the same blueprints that we get during the Insanity ending that allowed us to figure out what Lefty's purpose was, we also get to see Baby's blueprints. We can see that she's 7 foot 2 inches tall, has an air hose attachment on her right hand, her song databank is where her brain would be, and that she has an emergency stop on the leg, most likely installed after the Elizabeth incident. However, in this blueprint we can also see the wireframe of a child huddled into a ball. This wouldn't really be noticeable though if we hadn't seen Funtime Freddy's blueprint, where we learn that he has a containment chamber and another child inside of him. This was actually all hinted at during the opening scene of Sister Location, where Afton lists off the various features of the baby animatronic, saying she can dance, she can sing, she's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips, she can take song requests, she can even dispense ice cream. Before being replied to with all due respect, those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton, which alluded to there being more than meets the eye, and while we do see it in that game, at least this gives us more of an explanation. And at 4, Scraptrap's identity. When Fnaf 6 came out, the Mike Trap versus Will Trap debate was louder than it ever had been before, thanks to the introduction of Scraptrap, who some fans believe to be a new character, which only got worse when both versions of the character were featured in Ultimate Custom Night. But this had already been sorted when Scott told everyone that matpat's conclusion to the debate, where matpat concluded that William was Springtrap, was indeed correct. And in Ultimate Custom Night, Scraptrap says, "I always come back," which is William's signature line, because no matter how hard we try, this man won't die. I mean, he has now, but like, still. It's also confirmed in the animatronics inventory section for Ultimate Custom Night in the Freddy Files Updated Edition, where Scraptrap is referred to as Scraptrap/William Afton. You can't get any more straightforward than that. And while yes, Springtrap doesn't have the /William Afton, Scott already confirmed that he was William in the Reddit/Steam post that I mentioned before. Boom! You looking for this? Truth bombs! Getting close to the end in number 3, first animatronics. We always figured that the Fnaf 1 animatronics were the first ones made after the Springlock versions of Freddy and Bonnie, but that was always an assumption. But then FazFax comes in with the truth bombs and drops us some knowledge right at the president's feet. One of the FazFax states, quote, "Some of the first animatronics built by William Afton featured claw mechanisms that were able to hide away items inside them," which means that, strangely enough, the Funtime animatronics are the first ones made, or at least some of the first ones, and I'm guessing after the Springlock suits, which does make certain things more confusing, but at least we know which ones are the closest to being made first without having to speculate. I mean, like, it doesn't mean that these were the first animatronics, only that they were made around the beginning of the company or around Williams' kind of like spiral, but it also shows us that William always had sinister intentions, so it's not because his kids died that he started killing people. Penultimately in at number 2, Purple Guy. Before Sister Location's release, we could only speculate as to the name of the individual we knew as Purple Guy. Tons of names were made, with Dave being the most popular and the one that was generally accepted. Even still, however, the true Purple Guy name reveal of William Afton started in the Fnaf novels, specifically the first novel in the series, The Silver Eyes. This was shown to those of us who didn't want to read the book that most people called cringe by matpat in his theory on the subject, but the response was really, like, oh man. A decent amount of people were glad that we at least had some form of canon name for the character, even if it wasn't going to be in the games. But others were upset because Matt had used the books for his theories, which don't share the same continuity, but like, it's the closest we were gonna get. His theory, however, was actually confirmed to be true during the Sister Location starting scene where we first hear Afton speak, talking about Baby's various features, which is also how we found out that she has more to her than meets the color changing after getting possessed eye, because, you know, I mentioned it before. Why just skip that number? Like, what? Don't do that. That's weird. Finally, in at number 1, Golden Freddy's name. Since the beginning of Fnaf, we had been wondering about the mysterious and seemingly supernatural Golden Freddy, the entity able to travel through solid doors and walls, who gave us hallucinations and crashed our game when they got to us. Who was this mysterious being? Over the years, we got a few names, most notably with the gravestone ending in Fnaf 6, but even with that, Golden Freddy's name always eluded us. And if they are the one you should not have killed, or if they aren't, the name wasn't given to us in Ultimate Custom Night either, only an alias. But alas, we were saved when the Fnaf Survival Logbook came out, where we were jumping through more hoops than dogs at a dog show, or dolphins at SeaWorld when they just want food. We uncovered the name Cassidy, thanks to wrong numbers on various pages becoming coordinates in the word search. It was a lot for a name reveal that honestly didn't mean much to the series, since the name Cassidy only appears in one other place, that being the Fnaf novel The Fourth Closet, and the character is of little consequence. But if I didn't put this at number 1, I'm sure plenty of you would have gotten mad, so there you go. There we have it, friends, the top 10 scary FNAF mysteries that were solved. Which mysteries did you expect to see on this list, and do you have any mysteries that haven't been solved that you'd like to see be solved? Be sure you let me know down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been in Shower Man Connor Munro, and I'll see you in another video.